Hi everyone, it's me Hatsy and I'm back with another video. It's a little bit different because I'm back with Planet Coaster. Now I have been enjoying this game so much, I want to start sharing it regularly on my channel. Now I have not perfected my building skills whatsoever. This video is really just about having fun and seeing what I can build. I haven't had like much experience with other building games before, other than The Sims. I mean, that's an obvious thing, but it's a completely different way of building on Planet Coaster because you can do so many things, and compared to The Sims where it is pretty restricted compared to this game, it's different because I have to really think out the box. Like I have to imagine, I mean, what I want to do, and I could really do anything on this game, so having so much freedom, it can make it so difficult sometimes. But anyway, the idea of doing this build would be to make a theme park. Now Alpha 3 has just came out, so if you're actually following the game, then you may know about Alpha 3. I think it's like the last version before they release the game fully. So I am very excited about having a full complete game of Planet Coaster because that would be amazing. But just for now, this is really just going to be making a world and having some of the features that will be included in the official game once it comes out. So Alpha 3, you do actually get the chance to have a challenge mode, and this is the mode that we're building on. So it's not going to be like just a random world just for building. I wanted to do something that was challenging, but I don't know if I'm regretting it now, because what happened was I kept running out of money whilst building this, and I think that in the future it's going to be really interesting to see how this park would work, see if it is financially stable, see if I can keep it running, to be fair. I don't really know. But I had a lot of inspiration of the sort of world that I wanted to build. I wanted to go for something medieval or like a fantasy combined world between the two. So yeah, I mean, you'll notice that it's a little bit odd, I have to say. It's probably one of the strangest creations I've seen made on Planet Coaster so far. But then again, if you have any pictures of crazy creations, I would love to see them. And of course, if you are a builder on Planet Coaster, then share your creations with me because I love to see what other people build in the community. I love doing it in The Sims, so I want to do the same for Planet Coaster. So yeah, you can just send me some pictures over Twitter if you want to. If you have any inspiration pictures as well, like if you have any ideas for what I could build in this game, then just let me know. Now, the next few episodes of me building in Planet Coaster, how many times do I say Planet Coaster during this video? No, but I think the next few episodes are going to be pre-recorded, but that is just because I'm moving house, for anyone that doesn't know, and I won't be around so much, so it'll just mean that, I mean, like for the next 3 parts, it will just be like me imagining things, my imagination, and just practicing as well. I found out so much stuff that I could do just by practicing and just by making different things. It was just really, really interesting. But anyway, the idea for what I was building at the moment was to make a really rickety entrance, like a really broken down old entrance, and I love that. Like old broken down things in theme parks are often what I try to, I guess, see. So in Universal, for instance, they have like different parts of the park. So they have like, I guess it's a Simpsons place, you have the Harry Potter place, you have like loads of different worlds almost. But yeah, I would be more inclined to go to the ones that are like more traditional, like hundreds of years old, the ancient Egyptian part. I don't know why. I don't even know why. I don't even like history, but that is where I would go. So if I was going to build my dream park, it would look, I guess, something like this. I mean, it might not be to everyone's taste. That's fine. I mean, let me know in the comments what would be your dream park, because I know a few people, like some of my friends and stuff, they would probably want to go to the more futuristic places. It was really strange because when I went to Epcot, because Epcot has like all the different countries, I guess, it's all like inspired of different places. I went there with my husband, I think a couple of years ago, and what happened was we had completely different ideas of what we wanted to do. So he wanted to go to all the technical parts and see what was there. Like he wanted to go to the big golf ball and see what was inside, learn all the science stuff, which, to be fair, I'm not really into science, so it didn't really interest me that much. What really interested me was looking at the traditional parts of Germany and England and seeing what was there. But anyway, at this point I was making some town buildings because that really interests me as well, just like small little builds to go around it. I probably built the entrance really close to the start, and it was actually really strange because the entrance wasn't supposed to be very big at all, and then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I got to the point where I was like 7 hours in and I didn't know how to stop. I didn't know how to, like, I guess, cut down or cut back on the entrance, so I just kept going with it. So it's massive by the end, and you'll probably see, in fact, if you want to see like almost a finished version of how the entrance part looks, then of course you can go to my Twitter because it will be on there and you can go and see for yourself. Hopefully that will be pretty interesting. I was also really shocked because Planet Coaster retweeted my picture, and this might not sound like a big deal, but honestly it was, because I do not class myself as a good builder on Planet Coaster. I class myself as a beginner. This is like one of my first builds that I've ever done. I mean, I think I last went on the game, I'm gonna say a few months ago, and that was my last video, and I wouldn't say my building was bad. Like, I don't think it was a bad build, but I just don't think it was the best. It was definitely a beginner build. But I feel like without even going on the game, I feel like I've already improved. Maybe it's just Alpha 3 because we get so many new things. Like, you can now change colours of things, which I'm so keen on. I love the idea of that. It gives so much more freedom as well. Like, you could make something look really fairy tale like, or you can make it look really spooky and haunted just by changing the colour. So that's really interesting to me, and that's something that I was thinking would be a really good idea when I was going on the earlier alphas and seeing what they were about. But no, I love the fact that they've done that because it just gives so much more freedom. Also, there will be an actual coaster, but it won't be in this part, unfortunately. It will be probably coming up, I'm going to say in the next part, or maybe the part after. I don't know, but pretty soon, I think. But let me know if you're excited for it, because I'm actually really excited to share it with you. I've been practicing my coaster buildings because the last coaster I shared was tragic, but I have tried. I really have. I took loads of advice from the last video. I always like constructive criticism, and that's one of the things that I really listen to on the channel. So I think that that's just really highly valued, in my opinion. Like, I think it's a good thing, and I think it's good for the channel as well. It means that I know what you all want, and I can try my best to, I guess, make better buildings. I think that the coaster that I built is okay. It's mediocre. It's not like a massive, amazing build or something. I mean, I've seen so many better ones just in the community alone, but I had fun, and I think that it's going to be interesting with the scenery around it. That's what I've sort of decided to do. Maybe not make like the best, the most amazing coaster ever. I think it's all about the scenery that's around it, and if I use my strengths, like if I use my building techniques, which is okay, I guess, and I put some fancy stuff around the coaster, then it could look quite nice, and we could do it that way. And yeah, I actually built a completely separate part before this one, and I scrapped it completely because it just wasn't what I wanted. Like, I won't share something unless I'm happy with it. It actually reminds me of Europa Park in Germany. That was a park that I used to go to all the time, and it was quite a nice park, but I made the mistake of bringing my dog, so I couldn't go on any of the rides, of course, because I wouldn't want my dog to go on the rides with me. But it was quite nice, and to be fair, he had a great day. It was like Halloween time, and he just walked around the park. Everyone gave him loads of thirst. I bring my dog everywhere, for those that don't know. My dogs, actually, because I have 2 now, but I just do. I don't like leaving them at home, so it's quite nice to be able to have the privilege of bringing them on holiday with me. Anyway, I was having some fun with the roofing. Now, the roofing is pretty difficult because we get these triangular pieces a lot of the time, and I was struggling to find ways that I could potentially manipulate the roofing, make it have like curves and stuff. I actually figured out how to do that later on. I'll try and leave a list below of like the different tools, because something that I really struggled with when I was building was actually finding how to do things. I was seeing on other people's speed builds because I watch a lot of different speed builds of Planet Coaster in the community, and I was thinking to myself, how do they do that? Like, how do they even rotate the angles in that way? I just didn't know how to do it. So yeah, I'll try and leave that in the description below, just because it took me hours to figure it out myself. So maybe it would just be easier if I wrote it down. But yeah, so I think a lot of this was just practice. This was like the first time I'd ever used that thatch roofing. I love the pattern on it though, it's so nice, and it reminds me of like a gnome village. I think that's what I'll eventually do. Like, my idea for this world would be to have different sections eventually. So you basically walk in, it's going to be like a really medieval place, it's going to be a roller coaster which will be entwined in the castle. So yeah, it's going to be a castle now. It's not even an entrance anymore, but that's just because it evolved throughout, so it's a better idea to do it in that way. And yeah, there'll be the castle, there'll be the ride, there'll be shops inside as well, like maybe the circus area, maybe have little huts and things, because you have some really fancy huts in the game as well. And I think on the outskirts, I'm really keen on doing maybe a fantasy forest with like fairy houses and, I don't know, like maybe witch houses as well, because I desperately want to use the witch huts. We get these witch houses, and for those of you that don't know, I've been really obsessed with the idea of witches recently. I mean, not so much realistic witches, I just like the idea of having, I guess, a little bit of the fairy tale theme involved. I like that. Anyway, what I was doing is I was making my own paneling. This was an absolute disaster, and I'm so glad that I don't have to do this in The Sims 4, because I did not know how to do it. I just completely forgot, and I think I made it up in the end, but it looks okay because it's supposed to be rickety and old and broken down anyway. It's not supposed to be like completely accurate and really neat and stuff. Of course, you can make neat buildings in this game. You can do whatever you want. But for me, I had so much more fun just making, I guess, old structures that are supposed to be a little bit broken, because that's the idea. And also, it's a lot easier to do that for the first build rather than making perfect town, let's say, because if I did that, then it would be a lot harder and I would have to make sure that everything's perfect, which I'm just not used to doing yet. We get some really cool windows as well. So I think with these like chapel windows, these church windows, they look really good. I love them. I've never actually seen a house like this in real life, I don't think. The only time I've ever seen houses like this are in theme parks. Why the houses look so much better in theme parks, I have no idea, but I would definitely love to live in a house like this. I mean, even the toilets alone, I would live there. I would actually live there. So yeah, in case you don't know, they are toilets. I couldn't actually change the colour, or at least I couldn't figure out how to change it. If you know a way, then please let me know in the comments below, because I would love to be able to change the inside bathroom colour. I feel like it would give a lot more to the build, maybe. Anyway, lights are really important as well, because something that was happening, maybe not at this point, but you'll actually notice if you stick with this series of building, if you, I don't know, if you enjoy this speed build, then maybe you'll stick around for later episodes. But you will see that eventually what will happen is I put it on live mode after I start to run out of money, and it was going a little bit wrong. So I ended up inviting the people in to explore the park, and they ended up glitching out and getting stuck down in the toilets area, which I can imagine is probably the worst place to get stuck, but they did. Also, couldn't figure out how to rotate Ivy until later on, so that comes in a little bit later in the build, maybe like part 2 or part 3. That's quite a late thing though, so hopefully you will see a difference in that, because I did want it to look very overgrown. That's something that I absolutely love. Me personally, I've always lived in houses covered in ivy, and I've lived in a Tudor house before, so I wanted to be able to reflect that in the builds. That's what I usually do, like when I build things in other games, I make sure that I have my own input in, and a lot of the things that I do build are based off things that I've seen or lived in myself in real life. Something that I would love to see in the game is actually interior decorating. So to be able to decorate those houses from the inside, could look really nice. And I think like when it comes to rides and stuff, I would love to have a ride that would go into those houses and maybe go out of it, and yeah, you could see the interior. But those houses are really, really small, so maybe after a little bit I'll create some bigger ones, maybe like a medieval home. But anyway, this was the fountain in the middle. So the ivy was flat down at this point, and it actually had its usage though, because I just used it for this because I couldn't figure out how to rotate it. Another thing as well was I love these effects. I couldn't really figure out how to use them, so I used the celebratory effect, or celebration effect, I think. Just by entering the building, like, you know, congratulations, you made it, sort of thing, which I really like the idea of. Also, this was when I was putting in the plants at the front, so you can actually start to see that people are arriving at the park, and this is roundabout where they just fell into the bathroom and didn't come back out again. I did feel a little bit bad, I have to say, but I think that all issues were resolved once I started to put in some other rides. Yeah, I put in a ride this time round, and it was just like an automated ride that we just get as a blueprint, and you can just put it in. But I did that because I wanted to make some money, so I will probably delete that in the future. But just for now, just because I'm playing on the challenge mode, I wanted to make an attraction so that people would visit the park and they would be paying money, instead of just using the bathroom and then leaving again, because that's an awful thing to do. And I don't know, I don't think you can even do that with theme parks nowadays. They're so protective though. Anyway, this was the path, so it's really long. It's away from the whole building because it will be deleted. It was just there to fill a purpose and to make sure that I was making some money, which I did actually start making a lot of money. I did. I pretty much went bankrupt, and then it just went the completely opposite way from there. So I was really excited about that. I like the fact that it's based around the scenery as well. Like, the people will come to the park because they want to see the scenic things, and it will make them happy. I think it will make them spend more money as well. But yeah, I really like that idea, because that was something that worried me, the fact that maybe when the actual game's released, maybe it wouldn't be plausible to be able to do this many decorations in the park. But I think that it will. I think that it will probably actually be one of the main features, so that's fantastic. Anyway, I was building up the front entrance because I couldn't figure out what else to do with it. I didn't want it just being like a dark hole, but to be fair, if you have any ideas, or if you would have had like a suggestion for what I could have done instead, that would be really helpful, because even if I don't do it in this part, I could definitely do it for maybe like the back of the build or something. Anyway, I was building up some castle parts as well, so this is really when I started to discover that I didn't want it to be like this orangey brown colour all the way throughout. I wanted to add in some fluorescence, so it's got like a really, really bright orange colour at the moment, but that does change. And also with some green, because I actually really like the combination of orange and green. It's also coming up to Halloween pretty soon when I'm recording this, so I thought maybe that would be quite nice. I could make a wilderness area, and then we could have like a really spooky place that would be Halloween themed, maybe like a carnival. I don't know. If you like that idea though, let me know in the comments, because that could definitely be a suggestion for the future. But anyway, that is the end of the build, so I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all for the next part of this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.